With the cost of living rising, operators at hundreds of UK food banks have called for swift government action. We are deeply concerned by the level of suffering we are witnessing and our capacity to keep people safe from hunger in the coming weeks and months, said a letter from the Independent Food Aid Network, which brought together more than 550 people panels that have been organized, and they sent it to the UK government. Poverty and hunger have risen rapidly. An emergency food package, such as that given out by food banks across the country, cannot alleviate a person's financial hardship, but only serves as a temporary patch. Instead, measures are urgently needed to ensure more job security and higher wages and make emergency payments possible. There are currently significant cuts for many citizens due to rising prices for food, energy, and other goods. People are now coming to the food banks who had previously donated food themselves. There is a clear regional disparity in prosperity in the UK. While the south and the region around London is economically strong and more prosperous, there are extremely disadvantaged areas in the north of England that had high poverty rates even before the current rise in prices. The Conservative government has declared levelling up, that means the equalisation of living conditions and the promotion of neglected regions. And they said that would be a central task, but so far has hardly been backed up with concrete measures. And the UK economy lost a surprising amount of momentum in February. The gross domestic product, the GDP, in February rose only minimally by 0.1% compared to the previous month, as the National Statistics Office announced on Monday. This was less than economists had expected at 0.3%, also well below January's 0.8% growth. This increases the risk that the economy will soon shrink as the pressure on real household income increases, said Ruth Gregory of the analysis house Capital Economics. Nevertheless, economic output in February was 1.5% above the level 2 years ago, and thus before the outbreak of the corona pandemic. The British economy collapsed by more than 9% in 2020, which was the worst since the Second World War. Things picked up noticeably last year, but experts are already lowering their economic forecast for 2022 because of the Ukraine crisis. The Independent Budgetary Authority OBR lowered its growth estimate to 3.8 from 6% and predicted inflation of 8.7% ahead. This would be the highest value for around 40 years. Meanwhile, British industry produced 0.4% less in February than in the previous month, while experts had expected a plus of 0.3%. The reason was also the falling production of the car manufacturers, who had to put up with bottlenecks in important components. The service provider business, meanwhile, benefited from more travel bookings, growing by 0.2%, and thus a tad more than expected. So the travel agencies are doing a bit better, but the rest doesn't. And I want to say a single word about something that's always coming up again. Why do you talk about the UK? Well, first of all, if every country and their people would only talk about their own country, this would be a very stupid, uninformed planet. Because then they only would watch their own stuff as well. And secondly, I've been living in the UK for a few years. I still have friends in the UK, and I obviously have to remind some people of that. And when I talk about Brexit, it might have been the decision of the British people. And by this I mean the majority of the people that went to the vote on that day. But it affects a lot of other countries as well. And so this is nothing where you can get people to shut up about. And for those idiots always saying, care for your own business. This is also my business, because your decision affects all of us. And neither you nor us in a good way. And to the sensitive people, I just want to say, I'm quite glad that I have viewers from 120 countries on this channel that are interested in an outside view on UK politics, because it is always good to have an outside view. By the way, I do watch foreign politics information about my country's politics. And that's quite enlightening. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.